Hello and welcome to the Tea Party Hardy channel for a review of Defunct Lands, live from the space stage, a Halyx story. This is the first official documentary movie by Defunct Land, which is a YouTube channel, and a very fine one as a matter of fact. Defunct Land's main focus is the history of theme parks. And if you go back and watch their old videos, which I highly recommend, they give little documentary breakdowns from 3 to 20 minutes on all the different attractions at different theme parks. And does a really good job. And as everybody does, hopefully, they get better at what they're doing. And so it leads us all the way up to live from the space stage in Tomorrowland at Disneyland, a Halyx story. And the movie is about one of the folk who worked at Disneyland in the music department, and what his gig was, or what his ambition was to create an in-house band that pulled the talents of the Disney company along with the talents in California and the record industry to create a fantasy band that mixes Star Wars with music. Now, this is long before Disney owned Star Wars. This is actually back in 1981. And then what it does, like all good documentaries, is it starts unveiling. First it tells you the big idea. It's really helpful, kind of what I'm trying to do here. Then after it unleashes the big idea, it goes into the personalities. Now you start meeting the people of the band. You get a little bit of the before and after. And it sprinkles it that way. It seesaws it back and forth throughout most of the documentary. And there are different ways to present documentaries, including all flashback, the yin and the yang, the back and forth, or the Forrest Gump invention, which is you start in the middle, and then you go to what you thought was the end, and it's not really the end, and you actually go back. That's very confusing. Thanks, Forrest Gump, for inventing it. It really worked for Forrest Gump, but when other people try, it's like, no. But this one, I really liked it. Personally, I typically prefer chronological documentaries, but this one, it wouldn't have worked that way, and you find out why at the end. And I will not do the spoiler on that, but I will tell you, halfway through it, I'm like, I know where this is going because it doesn't have a choice but to go there, and I was right, so we'll have to see how you feel about that. And what can you expect? Is it good? It's really good. I mean, they take a story that was the most obscure of the most obscure and turned it into a full movie that is really intriguing, and as the saying goes, they shine the spotlight on a moment in history, a very brief moment in history. And let's see, do I want to do the spoiler? I can do the spoiler because it's kind of obvious. In the end, they talk about how the magic just really never caught on. Otherwise, you would have heard of Halyx, and it wouldn't be the most obscure story. That's why it's not a spoiler. And anybody that's worked in the entertainment industry, which includes all of you YouTubers out there, everybody that does that knows no matter how hard you work, it may never pay off. No matter how quality-oriented you are, it may never pay off. We've all seen and heard the worst of the worst get gigantic breaks. So this is what I know. This is my wisdom I'll impart on you. Quality doesn't determine major success, but quality absolutely determines long-term success. And what I mean by that is, you can get your big break through an accident. You can get your big break through a relative or a friend or that kind of nature. Pauly Shore comes to mind. His mother got him all those gigs. But if you don't, and it worked, and everybody knows Pauly Shore's name, who grew up in the 90s, regrettably. And there are other examples you can find where you're allowed to be the flash in the pan forever, how long, however you say that. But this band was really made of some serious quality musicians with the backing of Disney behind them. Now, Disney in 1981 is not Disney of 2020 in so many ways. Disney in 1981 was very much struggling financially. Their movies that they released were really good, and that was it. They didn't release great movies. They released really good movies. They released really fun movies. And they were fun. But in the modern world, they would be considered the ones you watch on streaming services. It's like, hey, that was actually really good. Like if you've seen the Kurt Russell Christmas movie from 2 years ago, oh my God, that was so good. That one really should have went to the theater. That one was, wow, I love that movie. So I'm sure my fandomness of Kurt Russell had nothing to do with it. But no, it was a really, really good movie. Because I've seen Kurt Russell in movies, they're like, ooh, the one where he's in the cave with the troglodytes, and it's like, no, that one, that's a weird movie. So this one, they talk about the magic just didn't go. And the band members, you know, when it didn't go, most of them said, okay, cool, I'm going to go get my next gig, because that's how it works in music. And they treated it as such. And until this movie was made, they would have never thought, secondly, to do different, because they did just do that. It was just a normal gig that was like, oh, that was really fun that particular summer. But now that they've made it a movie, it's like, who knows what kind of a fan base it's going to bring up for them now, which would be really fun. I mean, it's kind of like when they did the Spinal Tap. Now, I mean, the paradox of Spinal Tap is humongous. It was a movie about a fictional band that in the 1990s became an actual band and toured. And I'm like, I went to their concerts and I'm like, this is head warping. I'm watching a fake band that's become a real band. The line between fantasy and reality got really warped there. And you can say the same thing of Disneyland. Disneyland is fantasy, but it's not fantasy. You're actually there. You're actually interacting. So reality, what a concept, to quote the late Robin Williams. So this is definitely a good production. It's fun to watch. You really get into the characters, the human beings. And my favorite one of the characters that I would have liked to, I really wish they would have spent more time on, was the dancer, the little Wog. And for some reason they said Wog was a racial disparity. I'm like, beyond my comprehension of which race is disturbed by Wog. But anyways, that guy, I want to know more about his life. It's very intriguing. The other folks, it's all good. But it's just the dancer who does the gymnastics in a rock band playing percussion. Yeah, I would have liked to have had some more detail on that. I think that's always really fun. So anyway, oh, sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, do check it out. It's a good watch. And when it's all said and done, you're like, I'll give you a great historical context of examples of how did this person get famous when they didn't actually cross the threshold into success. And you could go, well, Van Gogh never sold a painting. There you go. And if Halyx becomes really big out of this, it would fit into that category. And Laura Ingalls Wilder, she didn't get famous until she was in her 60s. If you don't know the history of Laura Ingalls Wilder, I don't mean the Little House books that she wrote. I mean how she became the author. Whoa, it'll blow you away. Maybe I'll make a video of that someday on one of my history channels that I also run. Anyway, you've got Laura Ingalls Wilder that fits in that category. Halyx could be the next one where it's like they weren't and now they are. Hey, if you can have Spinal Tap do it in reverse, anything's possible. So anyway, I totally forgot where I was going with that. Anyway, we thank you for watching and apologize for having the brain fart at the end. But do check it out. It's a good movie. You will enjoy it. And remember, it's free on YouTube. We'll see you in the future.